today. We have other legal issues, and they're all politically connected as well to talk about, in addition to Hunter Biden, which we'll get to. There's key hearings today in the case against Donald Trump for withholding classified documents. Judge Aileen Cannon, who's come under scrutiny for her handling of the case, hearing a challenge to the appointment of the special counsel who brought the charges. She's also weighing a request for a new gag order against Trump, trying to limit his comments about the FBI. On all of this, we're joined now by the attorney Brian Claypool from out on the left coast. Brian, thank you very much, as always, for coming on. Let me start on the breaking story, and then we'll go to the others. Joe says maybe this is a Hail Mary for Hunter Biden. Your thoughts on the possibility of a new trial?
Hey, Connell, great to be back with you. Yeah, I'm not sure it's a Hail Mary. I mean, it sounds like a legal issue to me. We need to know more about the appeal in the Third Circuit. For example, did the Third Circuit actually rule on the appeal, or did they not rule on the appeal? If they hadn't ruled on an appeal of the trial court not tossing out the charges against Hunter Biden, then there is a solid argument that the trial court does not have jurisdiction then to move forward with the trial. Because whenever you're in a federal appellate court, until there is a final ruling and an order issued by that appellate court, the trial court is stayed in moving forward with the trial. So it's an interesting legal issue. We'll see.
All right. So maybe there is something here. How long do these things usually take in a situation like this? I'm thinking about, well, for a few reasons, I guess the political reasons, but also Hunter Biden has another trial coming up, right, September?
Yeah, I mean, usually it takes at least a few months for an appellate court to rule on a motion to dismiss the charges. I just find it mind-boggling why none of this, though, was brought up before the trial actually started. But usually it takes a few months, and certainly this is going to trigger the Third Circuit to likely weigh in as well on whether they've issued a final order.
All right, let's talk about Trump for a moment and this classified documents case. Another gag order being discussed here as a possibility. The first quote we have on Jack Smith filing of the gag order reads as follows: "Every court to have examined the issues recognized the threat caused by the longstanding, well-documented dynamic between Trump's comments and the predictable response from some of his supporters." So basically making the point, there was a supporter of Trump that called an FBI agent, who was actually associated with the Hunter Biden case, and said if Trump wins, there's going to be a lot of trouble. There was threats supposedly that were going on here, so they're arguing for this order. And you say?
Well, I think they've got some traction based on what happened with Alvin Bragg and in the courtroom there. And you have a precedent, right? Also, with the judge in the case in New York City. And quite frankly, Connell, I've done a lot of jury trials in state and federal courts, and nothing like this ever happens. So this is highly unusual for a former president to be making comments and criticizing, for example, if he's going to criticize the FBI. And some of the comments might potentially be intimidating to those who are participating in the trial. And, in the real world, most judges will preserve the dignity and sanctity and the safety of all those involved and tell both parties you cannot be talking about that. So, quite frankly, I would support some type of limitation on all parties, having a dialogue in a public forum about this case.
So just to be clear about what you're saying never happens, because there's a lot related to these cases that we've never seen before. You just mean a defendant speaking this way or something else?
Yeah, Connell, no way. Yeah, defendant. I had a case in Florida involving Dalia Dippolito. It was all over national news. Everybody covered it. And, she was on videotape saying, I'm 1,000% sure I want to kill my husband. I argued entrapment against the police department. I went out and made a couple of comments in the media in that case, Connell, just about how I felt about a court ruling on the objective entrapment issue, and how I don't think we're going to get a fair trial in South Florida. And the prosecutor in that case requested a gag order against me and had it issued. So I couldn't talk about the case anymore until the case was over. So imagine that compared to this. When you're
Trump really hurts himself, though, potentially with all this. If you go back to here in New York, we haven't had the sentencing yet, but that could be impacted by all the talk, right, and all the violations of the gag order. Maybe in a normal situation, he gets no jail time. Maybe now he does. I don't know.
Exactly. You're raising an incredibly great point, which is why in the world, former President Trump, do you want to talk about this? Why do you want to criticize the FBI, the trial judge, prosecutors. Think about it. Prosecutors are going to be making a recommendation to the court about how much time you might have to spend in jail. Why are you out, attacking and impugning their character in a public forum when they might be determining your fate? I 100% agree with you.
Some of us have impulse control issues, Brian, like you in Florida in that case. You just couldn't help yourself, and they had to put the gag order on you. So it happens to the best. All right. Always good to see you, Brian Claypool, with us today, and all the time out there from California.